Greetings AMCers, John here, and I am in New York City for the kickoff screening of the re-release of the classic film Taxi Driver, Martin Scorsese's masterpiece, considered to be one of the best films ever made. Now, as you know, AMC Theaters is re-releasing this film on two special dates, on March 19th and 22nd in select cities across the United States and Canada. And we're here to share with you some of the sights and sounds from this premiere screening.
But, you know, the other key element here is De Niro's performance, which is extraordinary. All the other actors with him. And his, as Paul says, his intuition. We didn't have to say anything. Every picture you see of De Niro, me talking on the set, we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about, how did we get into that thing? Oh, yeah, no. Who's that guy? Oh, remember him? He came to that. You know, we're talking about something completely personal, which was part of the process. You know, people are still talking about it and wanting to see it 35 years later. It's more than gratifying to be associated with a picture that lasts this long, not only for 35 years in America, but also around the world. And I have been around the world a number of times, and people always bring up this film very specifically. And so, for me, it's a blessing to have been part of this project. I mean, there was a big choice to be made because the checkers were still around, and we always loved those checkers. But, you know, a big kind of jolly checker, it's like a happy car, you know? And I don't know. I said, and so we were thinking of the sleek ones going in and out of the city, you know, the smaller one, the sedans or whatever they call those things. Anyway, quite honestly, at one point I said, you know, we'll never get the camera in there. We'll never get it shot. So let's go with the bigger car. And I came up with the idea of the opening shot and the steam, because some critic had said, oh, that's the level of the metaphor in the film, coming through hell. I never thought of that. It's just Manhattan with the steam, and watch out. Watch out. You know, if you want to think of it as hell, fine with me, you know.
What is it about Taxi Driver, do you think, that has made it persevere to be still considered one of the greatest films of all time?
I think it's about loneliness. I think everybody can relate with that. I think it's universal, you know.
As you look back on Taxi Driver now, what's one of your favorite moments from the film?
I think the scene with the wizard with Peter Boyle. It's probably when he tries to get advice. Probably where Robert De Niro's most vulnerable in the film, and he's contemplating doing some bad things, and the wizard kind of gives him some advice. And that's probably my favorite scene.
What is it about this movie that makes it persevere for so many years? That it's still considered one of the most beloved and the greatest films of all time.
Yeah, well, I don't know if beloved is the word, but I don't know. I've often thought about that. The closest I can come to it, besides it being well made, is that it's kind of the real deal. I think, you know, Bob and Marty and I were all in a very similar place, and we knew this kid. We really knew him. We never even really talked much. I never talked much with Marty about the character. I don't know if Marty talked much to Bob about the character. We just knew this. We knew who this kid was. And so it was one of those serendipities where, you know, three young men come together with the same mindset at the same time and make something that I guess is genuine.
Now with AMC, of course, is really proud to be showing the film again across the nation. From the first time you saw this film on screen to now, how are your feelings differ between the first time and seeing it coming out again?
Well, that's a long time ago. It was over here at the Beekman. Well, that first screening was quite a buzz because, you know, we didn't have previews. We didn't know how it was going to do, and I got there. The first show was at 12, and I got there about 12:15. And there was a huge line. And I said, what happened? And they said, no, this is the line for the 2 o'clock show. And I walked into the theater, and Marty was there, and Michael and Julia Phillips, and the title came up, and the audience applauded. This is the first time it had been shown in New York. You know, so the power of something obviously already, you know, in the zeitgeist.